You want Brandon to carry 678?
Yeah, he's got like this. I love the bill.
Is that on the orders of the day today?
No, I'll be on tomorrow.
Okay.
Assuming you put it on, it'll be on tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm fine carrying it, but I think that he gets more out of it than I do.
Whatever you think.
You know what I mean? Who needs that to put that new camera?
Yep, whatever you think.
All right. Which one do you-
Okay, it's 10 o'clock straight up, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm calling the meeting of the Senate Standing Committee on License and Occupation to order. Please silence your cell phones. If you are interested in testifying, please use the sign-up sheet. Testimony is within the chair's discretion based on time constraints and information already presented. There will be no signs permitted in the committee room. Do we have anybody that wants to make any introductions? Madam Secretary, call the roll.
Senator Rocky Adams, Senator Douglas, Senator Higdon, Senator Hornback, Senator Howell, Senator McDaniel, Senator Neal, Senator Nemus,
Present.
Senator Thayer,
Here.
Senator Thomas, Chairman Schickel.
Present. We do have a quorum and are duly constituted to do business. We have one item on the agenda. It's House Bill 607. Senator Thayer and Representative Koenig are going to present this bill. Welcome, both of you. Of course, Senator Thayer, we all know he's on the committee, and Representative Koenig is chairman of the committee over in the House, and it's this committee over in the House, and it's a great honor to have you here. He's also from Northern Kentucky and a good friend. Introduce yourselves for the record and proceed with your testimony. We do have a committee sub that we need to adopt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Adam Koenig, State Representative, 69th District.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Damon Thayer, Senate District 17, and I'd like to make a motion to adopt the committee substitute.
Thank you. The sub we're referring to is PSS4 is the committee sub. I heard a motion to adopt the sub. I heard a second to adopt the sub. Let the record reflect. All those in favor use the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, like sign. The sub is adopted. We now have before us House Bill 607, Committee Sub PSS4.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I think we're going to, where we're going to attack this, I'm going to talk about what the bill looked like when it came out of the House and then pass it over to Senator Thayer. We passed a bill, I thought, that had so much goodness we couldn't pack any more into it, but senators have figured out how to do so, and I appreciate that. 607 is a result of the pari-mutuel wagering task force that was generated after the passage of HHR last year, and it does the following. The first thing it does is it equals every pari-mutuel wager tax rate at 1.5%. Currently, if you wager on your phone on something like TwinSpires, which is called an ADW, Advanced Deposit Wagering, it is taxed at 0.5%. A HHR or a live wager is taxed at 1.5%. A simulcast wager is taxed at 3%. Those tax rates made sense when they were created years ago, and I think in today's environment, it makes more sense to make them all 1.5% across the board. Changes the distribution of live and HHR taxes to send more money to the general fund. There was a great deal of concern last year that the general fund was not getting as much money as it could or should, and we have found, I think, a creative way to do that by putting a cap on those funds, and we'll still fill those coffers afterwards. It'll just be at a reduced rate, and that difference will start going to the general fund. We direct more funds to the University of Kentucky and for the first time, we direct funds to the University of Kentucky and Bluegrass Community Technical Equine Industry Programs. University of Louisville Equine Program has gotten money for years to help produce the folks that work in the equine industry, but UK and BCTCS had been doing it without the help of any funds from HHR, and we fixed that. We eliminate the admissions tax. In statute, there's a 15-cent tax for every person that comes to the races every day. That is a 100-year-old probably rule that is antiquated. At Turfway, at Kentucky Downs, at Ellis Park, there are no turnstiles anymore, and there's no way to really determine how many people actually came, and so we get rid of that. We include language to require that the Racing Commission be self-funding. That's a $3 million yearly amount that's been in the budget, and now they will be making sure that they are self-funding, so that that saves us $3 million a year. Requires the operators of these HHR facilities to have a self-exclusion list. That is not uncommon for casinos across the country. Not that these are casinos, but I think we're at the point where we need to make sure that that is an option. So if you're someone who decides that, hey, you know, I want to make sure I don't come back here for a week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever it is, that you go and talk to someone at the track, at the HHR facility. They will put you on a list and make sure that it, they don't take your money for a while. Eliminates breakage, which is one of my favorite parts of this. If imagine everyone here has been to the track. If you make a win-place show bet, for instance, you notice you get paid in 20-cent increments. That is not the way it actually breaks out. From henceforth, you'll get paid to the penny for every dollar you wager. So instead of getting paid, say, $7.20, you might get paid $7.24 or $7.32 or something like that. It's the bettor's money, and we need to give it back to them, as far as I'm concerned. And lastly, it allows KTDF money to be used for claiming races. Those are for Kentucky-bred races, or for Kentucky-bred horses in any Kentucky race, and they're eligible to be used for most types of races except for claiming, and now they can be used for any type of race. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I will pass it over to Senator Thayer to talk about the changes.
Very well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Chairman Koenig. It was a real pleasure co-chairing the Pari-Mutuel Wagering Task Force with Chairman Koenig, a fellow horse racing fan like me. Some of you are familiar with the language that he just explained to you. We made a couple of minor tweaks. Well, actually, one's pretty major tweak. Racetrack facilities themselves are exempt by statute from local occupational sales tax, and it's because of all of the other taxes that are stacked up on the racetracks. License fees, the pari-mutuel taxes that they pay. But grandfathered into that are the track extensions that we're now seeing open up under existing law in Kentucky. And Senator Givens made an excellent point to me that these track extensions, which are currently open in, Bowling Green and Newport, and are scheduled to open in Williamsburg, Owensboro, and Louisville, downtown Louisville, they're not paying the local occupational license fee. And if they're next door to a bookstore or a shoe store or an auto parts store or a McDonald's or any other restaurant or bar, they're paying the occupational tax, the license tax. And I thought he made a really good public policy point. So we've included language that is permissive that allows local governments to impose a local occupational tax if they so choose. I think it's the right thing to do from a public policy point of view. Also, we eliminated on page 28 a paragraph about the display of information regarding wagering on historical horse racing machines, as it's unnecessary, as it's already in regulation and enforced by the Racing Commission. Then there was some language relating to breakage that is on page 29 as it relates to the payouts on historical horse racing machines. The operators don't consider breakage there, so this gives the option for them to do what they're currently doing, which is to put the breakage back into the betting pools because the financial model for historical horse racing machines is different than a live racing bet, where on a live racing bet, 80% goes back to the bettor to pay the winning bettors. In a historical horse racing machine, it's about 95 to 96%. So that breakage is put back into the pool. We also wanted to make sure that Derby City Gaming, formerly known as Churchill Downs Trackside, is not part of the track extension definition. It's always operated under the traditional Churchill Downs racetrack language. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, this is a very significant piece of horse racing reform. It will, as is right, as is appropriate, it will lead the country in horse racing policy. I suspect other states will look at the things we're doing here and follow the lead if this is passed into law and adopt some of these measures in their own states. So I want to thank you for your time and attention and appreciate your support on the bill as amended by the committee substitute.
Thank you, Senator. And I had the pleasure of attending most of these task force meetings, and to me it was totally fascinating to see how it all works, and just amazing. And we certainly had the two right guys chairing the committee. I have a couple questions, and doesn't look like anyone else does. We had talked at one time, I know I talked with you, Senator Thayer, and I think you too, Chairman Koenig, about this issue of, and I hope I explain it right. Once I start talking, I think you'll know what I'm talking about. The issue about placing a wager to track versus placing an electronic wager, and the difference in the monies that go to the development funds. And does this correct that, or is that something we still have to do?
It corrects it. You're right. Part of the parimutuel tax on a live race, if you bet with a parimutuel clerk at the track, flows to the Kentucky Thoroughbred Development Fund, or if it's at a harness track, through the Standardbred Development Fund. For the last 20 years, the tax on an advanced deposit wager, which I have an app on my phone that I can make a wager on from any legal state that allows that, it's only half a point, and none of that money flowed to the development fund. This bill puts that tax on the advanced deposit wager at 1.5%, and then the money will flow according to the statutory formula into the development funds. And that's been one of my pet peeves for years as well, Chairman Schickel. So I appreciate your support on returning this money to the races for the owners and trainers and jockeys to compete for.
Thank you. I'm happy to hear that. And sometimes I think I know I live in the past, but one of the things I love to do when I go to the track, first I like to get a big old stinky cigar and fire that thing up, big cheap stinky cigar, and I'm so happy Turfway's
Yes, I can vouch for that.
Yeah, and Turfway's,
Mr. Chairman.
I'm so happy Turfway's going to let me do that still. So I'm very happy about that. Thank you, Turfway. But the other thing is I like to place my wagers at the window. And it just occurred to me, if we're being paid by the penny, to the penny, do you think there's any danger in that will be discouraging people to use the windows because the tracks and the bettors won't want to deal with all those pennies, or and maybe that's what you want to do. I don't know. I was just wondering if you could comment on that.
I'm certainly not looking to discourage anyone from using the windows. I'm interested in making sure the bettor gets back the money that, frankly, that they deserve. And one thing I've said over and over is when we passed HHR, which was your bill, Senator, everyone was taken care of that makes the show go, except for the bettors. And I was bound and determined to do something for the people that wager, and this is, I think, the best way we can do that.
So I have to get my penny jar out.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think it means mutual clerks are going to have lots of penny rolls at their windows. And if I'm ever successful in cashing a bet, I'll certainly leave the pennies and the dimes with them as part of the tip if I ever happen to actually bet on a winner at the track.
That's a great point. Well taken. Yeah, I believe Senator Adams. Do you have a question?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I just had a quick question. It states that harness racing shall be distributed in exact amounts based upon contracts between parties filed with the Racing Commission. And I just wanted to know, who are the parties mentioned here?
So, Senator Adams, that's an excellent question. In Lexington, we have two tracks, Keeneland and the Red Mile. They run a joint operation at the Red Mile, where that's the only place in Lexington you can go for year-round simulcasting and for HHR. It's a harness track, but on the development fund side, they have for years operated under a letter of agreement with the finance cabinet to split the proceeds to the two different breed development funds. This just puts that in statute.
Okay.
It puts it in statute because there's been a level of concern that it's simply operating off of an agreement with the finance cabinet, and it's a safety precaution to make sure that, since that's a joint operating venue, that the monies are split between the two different breed development funds.
And
Perfect.
if I can add to that,
You may proceed.
the finance cabinet had been basically making a 50-50 split, and this language basically says that if there's a agreement between the two sides to make something different than 50-50, they can file a letter of intent or a contract, whichever, with the Racing Commission to spell that out.
Okay, great.
Thank
you.
We do have at least one more question, but at this time I'm entertaining a motion. We can still discuss this afterwards. I'm going to entertain a motion to accept, to pass the committee or to pass the bill as amended by the committee sub. There is a motion and a second. All those in favor? No. I got to do more discussion. I'm sorry. Okay, Senator Hornback.
Just a comment, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank these two gentlemen, Representative Koenig and Senator Thayer, for what you all have done, because I know we've had a lot of discussion over the last few years, and this is an issue that, even though I'm not a horse racing fan, it makes a lot of difference to agriculture. And I know that when you all started talking about this, the thoroughbred industry was having trouble, and that affects not just the people that are out there racing the horses, but the breeders and everybody else out there on the farms. And I really appreciate y'all doing this, and especially where you put half the money into the Saddlebred Association too, so that you treated them equally. And with historical racing that the chairman passed last year, the industry's evolved. The industry's doing great here in Kentucky, and I'm glad there's two gentlemen like you all that have the respect and the knowledge of the thoroughbred industry and what it means to the state of Kentucky, to everybody in the state of Kentucky, not just those involved in the thoroughbred industry. And thank you all for your hard work on this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Hornback. May I respond to that, Senator Schickel?
You may, but before you do, I just want to echo his comments. And one of the things I like too, and there's so much to learn about this industry, and that's one of the reasons I enjoy this committee so much, is so much to learn about it. But I too appreciate the fact that that you have made a concerted effort to get some of this development money down to the poor folks, or the people that, not the expensive horses, and I think that is a very, very good way to go, and a great way to expand the interest in horse racing. Go ahead, Senator Thayer.
Well, thank you, Senator Schickel. I'm going to respond to what you said. I know that Representative Koenig's favorite part of the bill is the breakage, because he's a handicapper. My favorite part of the and a penny pincher. My favorite part of the bill is allowing the KTDF funds to be on the claiming races, because I participate in a small way in racehorse ownership partnerships, and I've learned the very difficult lesson that most of these horses don't end up being stakes or allowance horses, and they run for claiming races, and the purses are quite a bit smaller, and it's very difficult for owners to get their investment back, and I think this is an appropriate way to use the KTDF money. Senator Hornback, to your point, because of Senator Schickel's Senate Bill 120 and the investment it spurred across Kentucky, including a $150 million investment by Churchill Downs to rebuild Turfway Park in Senator Schickel's district, a new track that opened a few years ago in Oak Grove, a new track that's opening in Corbin, and track extensions in those cities I mentioned, we are 18 to 24 months away from having the best year-round racing circuit in North America. And you couldn't say that 10 years ago. Horsemen, owners, trainers, jockeys are moving to Kentucky from California and New York and Florida because of our lucrative purse structure in the year-round circuit. And that has a trickle-down effect into all segments of our economy, including tourism and agriculture. Horses eat a lot of food, and a lot of hay, a lot of grain, and that benefits our farmers. There's also, there's 60,000 jobs tied up in horse racing, and a number of them are agriculture related and tourism related. So thank you, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All great news. I do not. Is there anyone who wants to speak against this bill? I always want to ask that. Anyone that wants to speak against the bill in the audience?
Right.
Anyone have any final comment?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I may, I just want to recognize member of the Racing Commission, Mark Simmendinger, is here today, and he's the one who approached Chairman Koenig and me. He's like Senator McDaniel with the spreadsheets and the number crunching, and he said there is no way that the taxpayers of Kentucky need to continue spending $3.8 million in general fund money to support the operations of the Racing Commission, the regulatory body, and he laid out a plan for us for the Racing Commission to become self-sustaining because, again, of your bill, Senate Bill 120. And again, more money that will drop to the bottom line of the general fund, and I just wanted to give credit to Commissioner Simmendinger for coming up with that great idea.
And he's also the pride of Northern Kentucky, so that's great. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Is there anything else before we vote? Madam Secretary, call the roll.
Senator Rocky Adams, Senator Douglas, Senator Higdon, Senator Hornback, Senator Howe, Senator McDaniel, Senator Neal, Senator Nemus,
Aye.
Senator Thayer,
Aye.
Senator Thomas, Chairman Schickel.
I vote aye, and I believe we will not put this on consent. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, if the members would indulge me, I would like to explain this on the floor, but I promise I will keep it short.
Well, there are 8 yeses, no nays, and no passes. So it passed with favorable expression that same should pass with the committee substitute attached thereto. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, fellow members.
I want to thank everyone on this committee for being prompt this session. We've had great meetings. We've had short meetings. I always try to keep them under an hour. Looking forward to the interim. And if nothing else, we'll stand adjourned.